Hello everyone, my name is Susan Windley-Doust and I teach theology at St. Mary's University of Minnesota. And I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about a tool that our department created that we think is really going to help all of you, potential students and students in real time, even alums, try to show yourself and also to show others why you are qualified and why you may be even called to teach theology or to engage in lay ministry. And this is through a device called a concept map. So let me go ahead and show you the presentation that we've set up on this. And this is a Prezi presentation if you're not familiar with these. It's like PowerPoint on steroids. And you could go ahead and look at a link of this on our Spirituality for the Vineyard blog at the same name. You can Google it and find it, Spirituality for the Vineyard. So, this begins with a big question. Who are you? Do you know yourself? How could you show who you are, all you've learned, what you've practiced, all of your strengths, to anyone else? Could you show an employer? Could you show a colleague? Could you even show yourself? Or are you possibly so busy that you don't even see the connections within your own life? And we do have a tool that we think may help you with this. It's creating something called a concept map. If you're not familiar with a concept map, the concept map is a tool that helps you visually see the logical connections in any given subject that you're studying. In this case, you're studying yourself. A tool that helps you show everyone how you have taken responsibility for your own formation, which is important. And a tool that helps you see where you need to work on things, which is always enlightening. You think that you may be more prepared than you are in a given area, and you go ahead and put it on paper and realize, wait a minute, I'm not. So what do they look like? Sometimes they're computer generated, like this one right here. Sometimes they're hand drawn. If you like art, you can really go to town on this. Other times, concept maps are hierarchical. And here's a good example of that. But all the time, concept maps are created to organize thoughts or realities to answer one big question. Oh, there that is again. Who are you? Or, a little less lyrically, do I fit the model of lay ecclesial minister as defined by the United States bishops? Now that sounds like a mouthful, but it actually is a big help to us that the United States bishops do have some standards in place, extensive standards in fact, that help define what it means to be involved in lay ministry in the Catholic Church, and what kind of skills you need and what kind of spiritual and human formation you should be undergoing both before getting into lay ministry and as you do it. If you're in the program because you believe you are called to lay ministry, this concept map will help you see how you are or are not moving along that path. And that's why we think it's going to be very helpful to you. So, what are the national standards for lay ecclesial ministry? Well, this document from the USCCB informs you what it is required in the discernment and practice of lay ecclesial ministry. If you've been to St. Mary's University, you've probably heard of this from Dr. Sobolewski, and I do recommend that you read it if you have not. But this does give you a shorthand version of it. What is involved in formation for lay ecclesial ministry? There are 4 areas of formation: human, spiritual, intellectual, and pastoral, that provide a framework for the formation of deacons and priests, and provide a framework for lay ecclesial ministers as well. Lay ecclesial ministers need Human qualities critical to form wholesome relationships and necessary to be apt instruments of God's love and compassion. They also need a spirituality and practice of prayer that root them in God's Trinitarian life, grounding and animating all they do in ministry. Lay ecclesial ministers need adequate knowledge in theological and pastoral studies, along with the intellectual skill to use it among the people and cultures of our country. And finally, lay ecclesial ministers also need the practical pastoral abilities called for in their particular ministry. So the publication, National Certification Standards for Lay Ecclesial Ministers Serving as Parish Catechol Leaders, Youth Ministry Leaders, Pastoral Associates, and Parish Life Coordinators, addresses these and related qualities as they are developed through ministry formation programs. The standards are a resource that can be helpful in identifying prospective lay ecclesial ministers, as well as in setting goals for the formation and certification of those who are completing programs. And if you want to know more, write down this particular website. Now, not every diocese or parish in the United States hangs on the national standards, but they are increasingly being used as a measure of how suited a person is for any kind of lay ministry. Understandably, the Church wants people in positions of leadership in these dioceses and in these parishes who, frankly, are qualified to be there, are called by God to be there, and who have the skills to hit the ground running and do good work. These are some of the examples of types of lay ministry that you may be involved in or you may aspire to be involved in. If you look at the standards can clue you in on whether you have been doing the discernment work to fully evaluate a call to lay ministry, as well as whether you have the knowledge and skill set to do the work of ministry with intelligence and care. The standards won't solve discernment for you, but they are a help. They are one more tool that you can use to try to see, is this belief that I have that I'm called to do this particular work honest and true? And it's especially helpful if you put the 4 principles of the national standards on a concept map. So, on to the tool that we would like you to take a look at and use for yourself. How filling out a concept map will help you. There are many concept map programs. Xmine is a mapping program located on the computers in the Hendrickson Labs or available for free download. There is one that you could pay for, but the free one will work out just fine for you. First, you need to print out the directions on the Spirituality for the Vineyard blog. And where will you find those directions? You'll find them at the upper right link. See? Right here. How to create a concept map. And by the way, while you're there, will you please follow the blog post on email or Facebook while you're at the website? That way we can stay in contact with you better. You'll get to a template of the map on Blackboard, and all you have to do is fill it in as you move through your college career. You could do it at any point in your career. For example, in between your sophomore and junior year, you can just take a few minutes and work out this map over the past 2 years, but we do recommend that you try to do it at least once a semester to pay some attention to what you're getting accomplished and what still needs to be done. Here's a half-filled example of a concept map. This is the template which one of our professors, Lori Ziliak, created for us. Thank you very, very much. And you can see the 4 principles of formation, right, extending from that middle graphic of lay ecclesial ministry formation. You see human formation on your left, spiritual formation, and then on the right, intellectual formation and pastoral formation. If you completed the entire map, you would see all kinds of pieces spilling out from those 4 ways of formation. And those would be examples of what you've done at St. Mary's University or on your own time in the summers or prior to attending this university to work on the skill set and the discernment that you need to do in order to enter this field. Now let's look at one particular quadrant filled in, and we might as well look at intellectual formation. Now this is where you might put in papers that you've done, research that you've conducted, courses that you've taken. You don't even need to have them inside of theology. You know, other courses that you take at St. Mary's are certainly going to be relevant to this work. So we have, and you can't quite see it on the map here because it got chopped off in the screenshot, but this is intellectual formation, and these are the different areas that are set out by the national standards that lay ecclesial ministers and teachers of theology need to have good work done in before they go into the field. So Scripture and its interpretation, okay? And the person here wrote in 3 courses in Scripture, 113, 110, which is Old Testament, 120, which is New Testament. And then added for good measure the exegesis paper that they had to do, which they chose to do on Mark chapter 13, the apocalyptic discourse. They had dogmatic theology, church history, liturgical and sacramental theology, moral theology, Catholic social teaching, pastoral theology, spirituality, and canon law. Canon law, I will warn you, you're not going to get a whole lot of in an undergraduate degree program, and that's okay. That's something where there will be workshops and you can do further work in on a graduate level if you're interested. But the more of this you can fill in, the better. And you might see somebody has gone ahead and filled this in and has done really good work on all of these, but they're missing 2, aren't they? Liturgical and sacramental theology and spirituality. At this point, the student filling this out might want to think about, why haven't I taken a liturgy class yet? Why haven't I taken a course that deals with some of the classic as well as modern interpretations of Christian spirituality? This is how the tool actually helps you see what you have not done and still need to do. Now this is an example of the spiritual formation quadrant filled in. Can you see on your own what this hypothetical student is missing? And can you see how this tool would help you see this omission more clearly? Well, that's the basic idea. You use this tool to show yourself where you have developed on the course of discerning and gaining skills for lay ministry, and then you can also use it to show others when you apply for a job or a position or any other kind of work that you want to do once you leave St. Mary's University. If any of this looks intimidating, it really isn't. Any faculty member in theology could help you get started using this tool for self-knowledge and discernment. Your advisor would be an ideal person to contact first, but frankly, just ask any of us and we would be happy to help you get started. We hope you find this tool useful. College really is a privileged time to learn, to explore, to pray, and to understand one of the deepest questions of human existence. Who are you? And could you tell someone else if you knew? Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, once again, contact anybody in the theology department. Thank you.